this meeting. Actually, two meetings. First is the meeting of the salary board. This is also followed by our Board of Commissioners meeting today, November 14, 2022. We will convene the meeting of the salary board and begin with the roll call of members present.
Commissioner Eichelberger.
Present.
Commissioner Foshman.
I'm here.
Commissioner DiFilippo.
Present.
Deputy Controller DeGrosso.
Here.
Thank you. Okay, at this point, we open the floor for public comment on issues related to salary. Anything?
Nobody.
Okay, very good. That'll move us to item 4. We have the minutes in hand of our meeting on October 31, 2022. There's required action.
I'll move to approve the minutes as noted. Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 5 is the salary board actions. I'll entertain a motion there.
Make a motion to approve the salary boards as presented. Actions.
I'll second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We'll move to other business for the salary board. Anything? Hearing nothing. Need a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Okay, we've adjourned. That will move us into today's Board of Commissioners meeting. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll begin with the roll call of members present.
Commissioner Eichelberger.
Present.
Commissioner Foshman.
I'm here.
Commissioner DiFilippo.
Present.
Great, thank you. At this point, the floor is open for public comments. Anyone online who's waiting?
We do have somebody named Stephen G. who just joined.
What's his name?
Stephen G.
Stephen G. We have you in our, I guess it's on a Zoom waiting list. Did you wish to offer public comment for the Board of Commissioners today? Give you a second if you'd like to speak.
He unmuted for a moment and he remuted.
He did unmute, but now he's muted again. Sir, you are remuted. I don't know if that was intentional or not. We'll give it another couple of seconds. If you want to speak, you'll need to unmute and give us your name and municipality residence. Any sign of activity?
He's unmuted.
Okay.
He has remuted us.
Okay, we'll have to assume from the sequence of events here that you're not offering. If you do, once you establish a connection with us, just let us know that you've established a connection. We'll try to circle back around to you if we can do that. So, okay. Anyone additional? Okay, we have no other public comment that we know of, so we'll move on to item 4, which is the minutes of the meetings of October 27th and October 31.
Move to approve the minutes of October 27th and October 31, 2020.
I'll second that motion, but with a caveat. The minutes of October 27th, when we get to Commissioner liaison reports, my liaison report says that I attended an expungement clinic. I didn't attend it. I just was letting everyone know that there was going to be one.
Okay.
So I will second that motion with that change.
Okay, so there'll be an amendment to that. We proceed. Yes, sufficient. Okay, good. Okay, so we have the motion, we have the second contingent on the amendment. And if there's no further questions, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion's carried. Okay, we have the personnel transactions at hand as well. There's required action.
I will move to approve the personnel transactions.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, that moves us to item 6, which are the contracts and grants reviewed at the workshop on Thursday. I believe everything was reviewed that's on here. If not, Stacy will do we have, of course, item 1 is the existing contracts, contract extensions. Item 2 is new contracts and such. So we can do collectively or individually.
Move to approve contracts and grants as listed in agenda item 6, Roman numeral 1, items A and B, and agenda item 6, Roman numeral 2, items A through J.
A second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. If there's no further questions, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right, that moves us to item 7. We have a number of transfers in regards to the proceeds from the transaction involving the Claremont facility earlier this year. So we'll take these individually, items 7, 8, and 9. And is there any, Dan, do you wish to offer an explanation on these, other than questions? No one's presenting. I mean, they were presented.
They were presented previously. I don't have anything additional to add. I just came for questions if you had any additional questions.
Okay, in that case, we have item 7 is the first one. There's a transfer in regards to monies being converted to the general fund that are earmarked for the ongoing costs as well as potential costs to be determined that are associated with the home. And that's not just with the transaction, that is possible expenses yet to be incurred that we're unaware of. Okay.
Dana, most of this is for pension cost, right?
The pension one was approved on Thursday. This is indirect costs, other costs.
I'm good, thank you.
I have a question because it is, I had an interview with ABC 27 on Friday, and it became very apparent to me that there are members of the public who are very concerned about these transfers that are happening because they've asked us to really put public input into what we're doing with these monies. So I want to make this very clear, and then Stacey, I'm really hoping you can jump in on this, if this is an appropriate time to have this conversation. But these are monies, we took care of the people's retirement. This motion, proposed motion here at number 7, these really and truly are for possible ongoing costs related to the nursing home. These are things that could be expenses that no one knows about. So we're just setting the money aside. And then at number 8, what we're doing is making sure that people's health care is paid for into the future. So former nursing home employees could have the potential of continuing county health care, and we need to make sure that our obligation to that is there. That's what we're doing. We're not divvying up. Go ahead.
So yes, with a slight change on it. Number 7 isn't, the majority of it is expenses that have already occurred or may occur that we know about that we're going to reimburse ourselves for into the future. In addition, there are also expenses that we may not know about.
Okay.
Okay, and then with the OPEB costs, we're transferring that money into the health self-insurance fund to
Yes.
cover the liability associated with having the extra retiree health care in that fund.
Okay. And so then Stacey, I know that there's an announcement coming regarding public interest in a potential benevolence fund. So there would be $7.5 million left over if these motions pass today. And then if you could just weigh in on possibly what the public could be involved in, I would really appreciate it. I think people believe that we are divvying up this money without public input.
So with the board's approval, the Human Services Policy Team Steering Committee will begin investigating with public input a benevolence fund, whether that means what types of expenses would be covered and the amount of any said fund, again, if that were approved by the board at a later date.
And so that we're putting together a process to engage the public. I have not missed the boat on believing that that is going on.
No, I am working on that with our communications director to get feedback from the public.
Thank you. So agenda item number 9, this $7.4 million, we are setting that aside and it's just going to sit there.
It will be in a committed fund balance in the general fund. And the only way it can be taken out of the committed fund balance is via Board of Commissioner approval.
Okay, and that money could, if determined by the board, be used in part or in whole for a benevolence fund.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. Thank you. So I will, on agenda item 7, move to approve to transfer $4,584,071.11 from nursing home proceeds to the general fund to cover ongoing costs as well as potential costs and fees associated with the nursing home.
Second.
Okay, so item 7, the transfer of 4.584 and change is moved and seconded. If there's no further questions, all in favor indicate by saying
Aye.
And that brings us to item 8, which has been somewhat discussed here already in regards to the healthcare self-insurance fund that Director of Finance, TFO, detailed a bit. So there's a motion for actualizing.
Yeah, I will make a motion. I just have one more question. Does any part of this 356,000 include runoff for former employees? Pay claim runoffs.
I don't know how to,
Employees who no longer work at the nursing home, but may have experienced claims the day they left, the day before they left.
it could help cover that, but my intention was to move it into that fund to help with the people that have left the nursing home that will retire and buy into our insurance.
Yes, right. Not that part, but I just wanted to make sure there could be runoff.
There could be.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we transfer $356,549.63 from nursing home proceeds internal service fund, which is healthcare insurance fund, to account for future costs associated with other post-employment benefits.
I second that motion.
Okay, that's moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Brings us to item 9, which also has been alluded to slightly. Dana, I think there may be some, Uncle Far, maybe some questions on this. So this involves apparently the remaining amount and how that's going to be applied for quote unquote future projects or initiatives. So we're apparently going to take action on that. So could you explain how the 7.4 was arrived at, please?
So basically what I did was I took the cash balance that was at the nursing home, reduced it by the other items that the Board of Commissioners approved transferring, and the remainder is the cash amount. This amount may change slightly because we're still earning interest on the money, so anything that's earned will be added into this balance. That's why it says approximate. But it'll be moved in the general fund and committed if you so approve. And then the only way to change that would be a Board of Commissioner approval authorizing how to spend money.
Let's see. So that's what we talked about last week, was the difference between assigned and committed. So committed simply means that it has to come back to the Board of Commissioners for approval. Whereas assigned would be, goes into the general fund and becomes part of the everyday mix of how we allocate money for services.
Right.
Okay.
With the committed fund balance, technically, if you had designated what it is supposed to be spent for currently,
Right.
it may not have to go back to Board of Commissioners, because as it's spent, we could reduce it. But because you didn't allocate how to spend it, it has to come back.
Okay. All right. I understand that. I'm not sure it's the protection that I would prefer, but it's there's the number. As I recall, we were presented with several different numbers, some that included past public subsidy on a real-time basis, some that were adjusted for inflation, real dollars, comments called. So, but we arrived at this one. So this basically is just all of the remaining money. And what's being proposed is that it will be determined by the Board of Commissioners at a future date, how it's used.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we need a motion on this.
I have a question first. Keith, the motion states transfer approximately, but we're citing an exact number. I don't mean to sound technical, but should approximately be removed from the motion?
I think Dan addressed that part by interest that may be earned on that sum. So with that understanding, I'm fine with the motion.
Okay, I just wanted to double check.
So just to follow up on it, so the number, the specificity of this number down to 0.94 cents is really just to make it balance with the, essentially the quoted proceeds of it. So we've got 3 different pots of money, all of which are adding up. Well, actually 4, all that add up to that amount.
Correct.
So it's kind of a balance sheet approach to it. It does not necessarily reflect what conditions will develop over time when those decisions are made.
So as the interest is earned, we'll increase that.
Okay, I'm fine. I'll make a motion that we transfer approximately $7,426,764.94 of nursing home proceeds to the general fund and commit these funds for future projects and or initiatives to be determined at a later date. I only question, should we also say by the Board of Commissioners?
If I understood the data correctly, that's what committed means.
It's on the definition.
Very good.
Okay,
I'll leave my motion as is.
so I second that motion.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. We have time for comment, questions. I'll just offer that I am very aware of the letter that was sent to us by the Controller's Office indicating that the county has collected these dollars over the years for use in core services, and that there should be a lot of questions asked before public money is allocated to any particular interest group. I know that's one of the things that has been mentioned repeatedly here. So there should be a process in place, which I think Stacy has outlined for us. Hopefully it plays out the way it's intended. And that will give us an opportunity to at least explore the highest and best use, and perhaps to appropriately involve public input, not just special interest input masquerading as public input. So we have that dollar amount. I am concerned that the approach here looks like it's setting us up for a raft of giveaways. But I understand what you're saying is this way it comes back to the commissioners. So then it's either good decisions or bad decisions will be in the hands and in the laps of the commissioners themselves. Whereas if it was assigned, it would become essentially part of the CME, which is actually, if it was taxed away from people for core services, is how it would have been handled anyhow. But that's over many years, going back to what, 1984, 86. So I appreciate the numbers, the work you did in crunching the numbers and factoring inflation in there to tell us what the real cost of taxpayers have been. We'll see if that's taken into account in the future. Any other comments, questions?
Just to add on to that too, we're not to the point whether or not we're gonna create a benevolence fund of some sort. Probably will, but at this point in time, I think any control of that money has to remain with the county commissioners. That's something I don't think I could waiver on at all. So that's my only comment.
Okay, questions on the floor?
I will just comment that I do really encourage that information get out to the public about how they can engage without public input on the benevolence fund, and that we do that in a timely fashion. But this, this 7.4 million will now sit there until the commissioners decide. And so there's plenty of time to make good decisions about this money. There's certainly no need to rush through it or, think that we have to take care of it within next week, by next week or the end of the year. It will sit there until good decisions are ready to be made.
Okay. There's nothing additional. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, that moves us on to item 10. This is in regards to recycling and waste. And this is the advertisement for tele light maintenance repair services for the composting equipment that was discussed at the workshop on Thursday. Are there any additional questions? Well, I guess the time for that is once we have motions. We need a motion first.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve authorization for recycling and waste to advertise for heavy towing, light maintenance, and repair services for industrial composting equipment.
A second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? Aye. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, item 11 is the, I'm sorry, we just did one. No, we did not. That's the second one. We need authorization also for recycling and waste, and this is the advertising for the heavy maintenance and repair services for the leaf turning and screening equipment. A big part of our function there. That was reviewed with Justin at workshop, so we're ready for action.
I will move to approve the authorization for recycling and waste to advertise for heavy maintenance and repair services for industrial leaf turning and screening equipment.
Second.
Moved and seconded. There's no further questions. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Brings us to item 12, also for recycling and waste. This is the advertisement for heavy maintenance and repair for the more bark horizontal grinders.
I will make a motion to approve authorization for recycling and waste to advertise for heavy maintenance and repair services for more bark horizontal grinders.
A second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Here's just item 13, the award for janitorial services. This was presented to us on
I
Thursday.
will move to approve the award of janitorial services to DSC Solutions for facilities management.
Second.
Seconded. If there's no further questions, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Brings us to item 14. We have an appointment recommendation that was discussed before.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Capital Resource Conservation and Development Area Council appointment recommendation for Rachel Stein. For an appointment for a 3-year term effective November 14th, 2022, expiring November 13th, 2024.
I second that motion.
Okay, appointment is moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Brings us to item 15. We do have a capital project request. Likewise, it was reviewed at the workshop. Board Administration, to entertain motion.
I move to approve the capital project request for court administration regarding chambers security system with a total project cost of $39,800.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 16 is the periodic general disbursement transfer authorizations. We need an action on that.
Move to approve the general disbursements transfer authorizations as noted. Agenda item 16A through G.
I second.
Okay, moved and seconded. If there's no further questions, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Brings us to item 17. That is the announcement of our acceptance. We have reported of reports for the Office of Pathonetary Register of Wills, clerk of courts, report of deeds, as well as the change of assessment reporting for October. Those are in hand. No approval needed for that. So it brings us to item 18, which is other business, additional come forward. If there's nothing additional, entertain motion for adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Stand adjourned.